Hello, my name is Bruce Frayne from Brankus Creations, and thank you for joining my stream. If you're wondering why I look like a sweaty beetroot, it's because I've just finished mowing the lawns, and it is hot with a capital So I'm just cooling down a little bit, just thankful there's no smell-o-vision here. Thank you to everyone who has joined. I can see Dana, I can see Steve, I can see Jay. So thank you very much, guys. I do expect this to be a relatively small audience because I haven't given a lot of notification, and I am doing it at a really weird time. I'm guessing it's probably 7, 8, 9, 10. Hang on. 2, 8, 9, 10. Is it 11? Is it 11 p.m. there? Would that sound right? 11 p.m. Which would make it 11, 10, 9. It would make it what, 8 on the west coast? Something like that. I don't know. Anyhow, okay. Yes, the fan behind me is well, it's better than nothing. Let's just say that. I saw a really powerful portable air conditioner come up for sale at local Aldi store here, and I was thinking, oh, it's like $400 or something like that for, just a portable unit where you just run the hose outside. And I thought, if I grab that in here, run that hose out the window or something like that, or just poke it through a hole in the shed here, that could be an absolute godsend. Look, I'm getting sweaty. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I am going to be recapping a Macintosh IIcx in this video. Isn't that going to be exciting? This is the board here. It has already... A couple of the capacitors have already vacated the board, liberated themselves of the board, so this has 2 less capacitors that I need to remove. I could probably flick most of these off with my fingernail, but I won't do that. Mystery Margot, hello, thank you for joining. Sires. I don't recognise that. Is this your first time viewing Sires, or have you been on before and I just haven't noticed? Either is possible with my brain. Oh boy, I'm running a little bit low on this stuff. Hope I've got enough. This is Solder Wick. I do think I have another roll of it floating around here somewhere. So if this one does run out, I should be able to grab it. And of course, the other really important thing I have today is flux. And I've still got a little dribble left in this one here. So I've got a little there to go, but I've got nice brand spanking new stuff now. So happy. I watched a few streams, I think 3 or 4. Well, thank you very much. My apologies for not noticing you before. So Macintosh IIcx, really interesting one. So the Macintosh IIcx came out at the same time as the Macintosh IIci, I believe. They were the lower and the higher. So the Macintosh IIcx, 16 megahertz 68030. IIci was a 25 megahertz 68030. So significant difference in clock speeds between the two. This one does have a floating point unit, a 68882 math co-processor though. So it wasn't like completely low end, because the low end ones they didn't include math co-processors. So the fact that it had a math co-processor showed that it was still aimed at the pro market, but it was just a lower cost alternative to the IIci. The other really big difference here is this vacancy there. On a IIcx, what you would see in this particular location, or it may not be there, I'm not sure. It depends on the position of these other things. But the main thing is we don't have a video output. No video output for the IIcx. If you want video, you're going to need a new bus card. 3 new bus slots here. We've got a ROM slot here as well. What we don't have on this is a processor direct slot. IIci had that, and of course had the ability to have a cache card put in that as well. So no processor direct slot on this. But as you can see, this is... definitely a scaled down version of the IIci, and obviously same size board as the Quadra 700 as well. So, and beautifully, this board goes in one piece in my awesome ultrasonic cleaner over here, which I will be doing a video on very soon. A few axial capacitors here as well. We've got the 4 of them on there. We've got 1 220 microfarad 16 volt and 3 470 microfarad 16 volt. And of course, if you're ever glancing at these boards and you're just wanting to identify whether it's oh, Steve got his flux today too. Awesome, that's great to hear. So yes, mine took a couple of months. Mine was posted in August. I actually had the opportunity, when I contacted them and they said it had gone missing, they sent me another one, and they said that apparently the other one's going to be here as well, so I'm going to end up getting double the amount. I will pay for it though. I don't expect them to give me extra flux for nothing. Okay, so if you're just having a glance at the Macintosh IIcx and IIci, one of the ways you can identify between the two boards, the Macintosh IIci up here near the power supply has like a little cluster of capacitors. The IIcx has this little line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of 6 capacitors. There's only 5 here because one's already fallen off, but it's got this little line of capacitors here. I might need to zoom for you to be able to see that. Zoom. None of the other boards, to my knowledge, have a straight line of capacitors like the IIcx does. So if you see a IIcx board and you see this straight line of capacitors, it's fairly obvious that that's the board you're looking at, the old IIcx. It's probably written on it somewhere too as well. Yeah, it's written on it as well. But when people are doing those tests on Facebook where they post a picture of a board and they don't show you the name on it, you can know what it is. One really good thing is I finally got my replacement glass tube for my solder sucker, my older one. When I first got this machine, like literally using it for the very first time, I was testing it out, how to remove the glass tube. So I opened this up, I lifted this out, and it got a bit stiff. And I was like, oh, I can't get this out. And then it flew out at the last second, hit the table. And because my table was at an angle at the time, it's not anymore, but it was at an angle, it just rolled straight off the table onto the concrete and smashed into a million pieces. But literally before I'd had a chance to use the thing once. So I glued the whole thing together with JB Weld, instantly ordered a new tube of glass tube, and that took several months to arrive. Don't ask me why. It came from España, and that's how long it took. Okay, David Weidman, hello, how's it going? Michael Weir, hello. Michael, this is the IIcx. You were probably already aware of that. Micro Made Repair, hello. Jamison Ladybug, few of your videos to figure out what type of soldering station to get. Well, have you made a decision of which soldering station to get? As I've said before, I use the Hacko FX951. I really like it apart from the interface. It's a crappy interface. But thankfully for me, I hardly ever need to interact with it because I pretty much have my soldering line set on one temperature all the time and never need to change the interface. So, problem solved. But I really do like T12 tips. This thing here, here we go, it's climbing up in temperature, 280, 290, 300, 330, 340. I'm speaking in Celsius, by the way. 400. Come on, 2 more. This is okay. This is up to 450 now. So the tip of this is 450 degrees Celsius, and then I can just do that, and I can hold the thing, and it is so fantastic. Great too, because I had the wrong tip in there, so I can just swap out the tips while that thing is blazingly hot, and then pop in a new tip. Fantastic. Hot Rod, hello. Is it YN Mots or EN Mots, or I'm not sure, but anyhow, good evening. Hello from Lima. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so which one did you end up buying? Jamison Ladybug? I would be very interested to know if you ended up going with like the FX951 or one of the other ones that I had suggested in there. Because interestingly enough, I did a learning to solder video, and I for the purposes of the demonstration, I used a really, really cheap soldering station. I've got it sitting over there. I've lost the tip for it because the tip doesn't stay on there properly. And it's around here somewhere. It's under something, you know, somewhere. And I've actually had a couple of people contact me and say, hey, where can I buy that soldering station from? And I've said, no. I was using that as a demonstration in the video to show that, you know, it's a lot of it is associated with technique, not necessarily the equipment you're using. I don't actually recommend that soldering station in a learning to solder video because, as I said, the tip doesn't stay on properly. It just falls off. Stupid. Ah, David, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. Thank you for that super chat. Much appreciated. Exactly. It was $70 on Amazon. So you might have ended up buying that can't remember the name of it. But it's the one that the other one that I recommend actually uses these T12 tips, just in a different one. The other one, of course, I talk about sometimes is the TS100, which is one of these. These are not a bad budget option. and they're able to be flashed, and you can put your own firmware on them, and there's different setups you can have for these, which is quite nifty. What I don't like about these is the distance from where you're holding your hand to where the heat of the tip is. So the distance from there to there. So if we were to look at it from this, I'm holding those both together. See that? See, this one's got a good inch extra in length. And just from a control perspective, I much prefer to be having that handle nice and close to the end of that tip there. So that's just my recommendation. Anyhow. How important is that solder sucker you were just holding? Which one is that? Where's a holder sucker? Oh, this. How important is this? It depends what you want to do. Now, this one in particular is not important at all because it doesn't work properly. I've got it. There's some sort of problem with this heating element. The station doesn't properly register what the temperature is, and so it's not heating properly. It's just not getting hot enough. And that is a huge problem. It sucks beautifully, but it's just not getting hot enough. I can get my soldering iron and stick it on the end of this and make this get hot, and then it works quite well. But as it is, not so good. Now, if, let's just say, for example, you were removing a few through-hole capacitors. No. A bit of wick or one of the manual solder suckers like this, that's fine. If you were in a situation where you needed to remove or replace, say, something like this. This is the RAM stem holder, and that has all of these through-hole pins here. I don't know, there's probably 50 of them there. I'd say absolutely, definitely use a mechanical solder, motorized solder sucker. If I was having to remove this CPU with all of these through-hole pins there, definitely. Any of these things here, a new bus slot, all of these things here, if you were going to do that with wick or with a manual solder sucker, it would be an absolute nightmare. That's just my recommendation. Okay, so this motorized solder sucker here, whatever model it is, it's like 9315 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. 8315. I've been very happy with it, apart from the fact that thermostat's stuffed up. So I've bought a new heating element, but I've also bought a whole new handle because I just want spares, because I really don't want, if I can fix this handle with a new heating element, that's great, but if not, I'm going to just use a whole new handle with a whole new heating element. So that's the thought. But I need to have it. I've been very lucky. I haven't had anyone send me any work where I've needed to do a serious amount of solder sucking, but it literally just takes one person that comes in with one of these that's been badly damaged, and I have to replace it with I've got some spares of those floating around. So I whip them off the old boards I have. If I have to replace one of those, it's just going to be an absolute nightmare for me getting one of those. I'm going to risk damaging the board. The other day I had to take a ROM SIM holder off a Macintosh 2 board, and that was a real headache. And I ended up damaging the holder while removing it just with wick and the solder sucker, and I ended up having to put a new holder on there. Now that's fine. Putting a new holder on, no problem. But if I was actually removing something that I needed to keep, I don't want to be doing any damage. Okay. NK Morpheus, hey, hello, thank you for joining. Micromage repaired. Did I already say hello to you? I can't remember. If not, hello. No sense of adventure. No, this is very true. I have no sense of adventure whatsoever. I'm starting to cool down now. Just for those who are arriving late, I was mowing the lawns before, so I was a little bit on the hot side when I first sat down here. Okay. Steve was working on a 2CX as well. Yes, I would actually like to think that I may have even inspired him to work on his 2CX, though I cannot be so bold as to say that. Because I was actually on our little group chat that we have with the fellow Mac Yackers. I was actually telling him how I had a 2CX that needed recapping, and within a matter of moments, Steve was streaming his 2CX. So, far be it from me to actually say that I may have provided some inspiration for him to go back and have a look at his 2CX. Because his 2CX, this is the thing. If you didn't get a chance to watch that 2CX video, I recommend going and having a look at it, that live stream. The 2CX was one of the first boards that Steve decided to recap of his own. And he was obviously still fairly green at it, not like today where he's got all this fancy equipment and he's got all this practice. And, he did the recapping and he couldn't get it to work afterwards. So the thing obviously sat there for a while, but then he got his microscope. He got his fancy pants microscope. And he thought, time for me to go and have a look at it. And what I did enjoy about that video, Steve, was watching how angry you got when all those ugly-looking traces still had continuity. That was very amusing to watch. You know, sort of you're going, oh, look at this, oh, look at this one here, and you scrape it away and you check it with the multimeter and go, what the hell, man? So anyhow, that was, as I say, that was good entertainment, good solid entertainment. Time to get some capacitors off. That's the first step. I've got a little bit of ugliness here. I can see some trace damage. I will not be as bold as I was last time and say this one will be a quick one, like when I did with that SE30 last time and spent 3.5 hours in front of the camera. Let's hope I'm not going to take 3.5 hours today, though, because I know how late it is over there. So let's have a look, and I'm obviously starting a lot later than usual. Let's have a look here now at the old microscope. So this is our little row of 5. Oh, I should mention, I've never done a 2CX board before, ever. I've never recapped one before. No one's ever sent me one. I've got a recapping guide up on my website now, and I've got it because so I'm just going to get you guys in focus, and then I twiddle me knobs and get me in focus. Yeah, so yeah, I have, no one has ever sent me a 2CX to work on before, and so this is going to be the absolute first time. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll get to find out whether this one's a good one or a bad one. You can see some ugly old trace damage here. Look at that. That seems to have eaten right through a there. Nasty. No, I think we're all right. Yep. That don't look too crash hot. That don't look too crash hot at all. I need you to stand erect, little crystal oscillator. So, if I am reading this correctly, just by looking at where things are on the board, the startup circuit is down here. That's here. So all of these Macintosh 2 boards that allowed you to start up with the keyboard, they had this, what do they call it, soft startup circuit type thing, which meant you could, it wasn't a physical rocker switch on the back to switch it on. Your power supply is ultimately always on to a degree. So when you connect it, there's some voltage going through it. And then when you press the button, it then makes the power supply switch on. And that comes from a startup circuit. And the startup circuit on this one is down here. Here's the power button. The startup circuit's down here. 2CI, startup circuit's over here. So, so yeah, a bit of a difference there. And you can generally tell where the startup circuit is by this little row of diodes here and these 2 transistors. So you got here like D4, D5, D6, Q2, Q3. So when you see those, you generally, you know, you're in the startup circuit zone. Look at that. Does anyone else see that? Oh, no, you don't, because you're not looking at the microscope view. Oh, it's going to be a long one, isn't it? So, is that corrosion or is that like mask? I don't know. I mean, that's definitely corrosion. Oh, that came off all right, though. Nothing wrong with what's under it. Same there. Same there. There's something's dribbled on it. One thing that I am going to be doing with this when I get it set up, Steve, for the sake of curiosity, I am going to see what happens when I start it up without a battery compared to when I started up with a battery. Just based on the interestingness that was happening with you when you were trying up yours. Look at the crustiness. It's got a bit of crunch in it, doesn't it? Same here. Okay. Well, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Right, let's get some caps off. Now, I am going to just use this flux with impunity. Look at this. Whoa, yeah. I've got flux. I've got loads of flux. I can just use flux. Doesn't matter. Flux. There we go. I'm just going to put like 1.5 Rossmans down there. 1.5 Rossmans of flux. Okay. All right. Okay. Ron's Computer Videos. Hello. How are you going? Hello from Tahiti. Hello. Thank you for joining. I think you might be the first Tahitian I've actually had on this show, so thank you very much. Okay. AA. Hello. Scope, can please? Yes, I know. I'm a little bit slack with that sometimes. Scrape. Now, I just wanted to mention this, and I'm not trying to make anyone in the live stream feel bad, but what I would always say with the scraping is blade like that and pull backwards. Pull backwards. Don't push forwards like this. It's tempting sometimes, in particular if you're trying to get the coating off like one trace and not another. I just give up on that. If I have to take the coating off 2 traces in the process, in the process of cleaning up the traces, then so be it. I'll just mask off the ones that I uncovered that I didn't want to uncover. So just saying. There we go. Just saying. So I think we might do something there. And we might do something here. And I'm pretty sure we've still got continuity across there. But I still like to have a little repair on there. There in there. And a chair as well. This one's going to really get a lot from a good old ultrasonic clean, that's for sure. Right, hot air station. What the flux is going on? Does it turn on or boot? Haven't tried. The fact that this board already had 2 capacitors that had liberated themselves from the board already, to me, didn't seem like a very good idea to switch it on. So I thought, given the fact that it's already started recapping itself without me, I should just finish the job. Look out, Captain, she's about to blow. This, stinky. This board has 1 more capacitor than the 2CI. It has 9 47 microfarad 16 volt caps, whereas the 2CI has 8 of them. So, read into that whatever you want. It's more cap endowed. Okay, so look at that. We've got some crustification on the fuse here. If anyone's wondering why these fuses look so weird, it's because they are actually called, look at that, self-healing fuses. If they blow, they actually mend themselves. Nifty that, isn't it? This board stinks. It stinks like fish fillets that have been out for a while. Okay, fuse still works though. Well, it's still connected. That's the main thing. I've only ever had, I think, 1 computer, no, maybe 2, that has come to me with busted fuse, and that was on the SCSI bus. Someone must have done something funky with the SCSI bus and blown the fuse on it. Thankfully, I had some, well, not thankfully, I had some spares. I bought some spares. I mean, just stuff doesn't magically materialize here. Yeah, I'll be honest with the A10. We're all chatting about hot air stations in the chat there by the looks of things. And Jay recently bought himself one of these A10 hot air stations. And I'll be honest, I've looked at the interface, and there are things about the interface of the A10 that I prefer to this one. There is another thing that the A10 does that this one doesn't do. is it allows you to blow cold air. This one doesn't allow you to do that. This one is hot air. You know, you can control the temperature of the hot air, but it's hot air or no air at all. And I love the idea of being able to blow cold air out of that thing if you need to. So I would say, so I'm just going to turn off this heater so I don't boil the water in my ultrasonic cleaner. So in terms of the longevity, well, none of these hot air stations are going to last forever. They've got heating elements in them. Heating elements are going to die. What is really important with these things, the availability of the replacements, so that you can get replacement heating elements without too much hassle or long waits or having to, you know, go into weird countries or something like that. It's like this desoldering station. The spare parts that I get for it all seem to come from Spain. And I don't know why. I've got nothing against Spain, but my goodness, that delivery took a long time. All right, so we're going to clean these pads up now. We're going to use a little bit of solder. We've got a big blob of solder here, and we've got some flux, and I'm just going to work my way around until I can try and get some of this crusty stuff off, or not. Using heat, using gentle motion, using flux. Need more flux. Just try and get these pads clean. I'm ever so gently putting the iron on the pad, and I'm using a beveled tip iron. So the bevel, I've got the flat part of the bevel down. I've got the heat on this cranked right up, but the station never spends much time. You know, the tips, I should say, never spends much time on the actual pad because of the way I'm moving it really quickly. I don't let it sit still. And that's kind of how I make sure that I don't end up removing the pad. It takes some practice, so don't do this on your favorite board because you are likely to end up lifting a pad. I've been doing these for long enough that I've got a pretty good idea of exactly how much pressure I can put on these pads without removing them. Every now and again I got caught out. Sometimes I'm doing this and I just see the pad start to wiggle and I go, whoopsie. Ease it back there. Easy, tiger. And then, yeah. And then I just sort of adjust my action a little bit accordingly. At least these are all nice and close together. Just work from one to the next to the next. And I could probably get in with a scalpel and try and get some of this stuff off first before I started doing this. That might have even been a sensible thing to do. But, you know, it's me. Digital Resurrection, hello. No issues, that's good to know. The cool button is cool, yes, I agree. Okay, cool. Love bevel tips, but from what I've seen, my Weller WLC100 doesn't support them. That sucks! I would just be spewing if an iron that I had didn't have bevel tips. I love bevel tips. I almost exclusively use bevel tips. I almost never use a conical tip. The closest I use is a bent conical tip, one like this. And I use that when I'm trying to work in really, really confined spaces. Okay. I'm really starting to get tired of this. I really should have hit this with a scalpel first. Scalpel. I've seen MASH. Right. Whoopsie. What have I done? Oh, that's right. Everything's fine. Relax. It's all good. This is another one of these slightly larger boards, so they're a bit of a pain on my bench here. The bench is a little bit crowded here for two reasons. One, I haven't cleaned it in a while. Yes, I realise that I should clean it, but I have been so busy down here lately that cleaning it has just virtually not factored into the thing. I've just been just recap after recap after recap. But the other thing is, of course, I have not that big a desk, and I've got so many things on it. I've got soldering station, speakers, the soldering iron with its little holder. I've got my hot air station. I've got the holder. I've got my power supplies. There's another speaker. I've got my what do you call this thing? This has got the solar removal sucker thingy. I've got my multimeter. I've got my paper towels. I've got my microscope. And there's just, and of course my computer screen, my mouse, my Mises. There's just so much stuff. Oh, did I do that? Oh, I think I spilt some solder on the board. All right, let's keep going. Shady Robot, love your vids. Shady Robot, love your vids. Keep up the great work. Do the boards ever get a wash during your restoration process? Occasionally. I have had that before with boards that have got some pretty nasty damage. I will often, you know, I had one particular board. It was a 2FX board with a fair bit of damage on it, and I started working on it, and it didn't work first try after the work I did on it. So I decided to give it a clean for a couple of reasons. First of all, that the cleaning may have actually clean out some gunk that might have been stopping it from working. But the other was that it might have, you know, sort of cleared away some, you know, corrosion to help reveal sort of some problems that I may not have been able to see. So yeah, I do sometimes clean mid-work, but for the most part, I try and clean just one time at the end of the job. So I work on the board, work on a dirty board, get it even dirtier, and then clean it off. Just one time, and then it works like magic. It works like magic. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that now to try and convince the board that that's what it's going to do. It's going to just work when I've finished. Cleaning off that solder, I want to end up with shiny pads. We're not there yet with these ones because they're so crusty, but WIC is something that really does take practice. For anyone who may not have used WIC yet, you do need to practice with this stuff because it does stick. I mean, look, that is now soldered onto the board. If I give that, you can't see. If I give that a yank, I'm going to just tear that pad off. And so it really does take, there's a kind of a feel you get when you're moving it around. Just, if it just grabs a little bit and you let go of any pressure on the thing. I am so going to run out of WIC during this. My neighbours are listening to a little bit of music outside, which I have no objection to, but there's just a little bit of doof 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 going on out there. I mean, I was mowing the lawns before, that's pretty darn noisy as well, so, you know. Can't complain. Toothbrush. Okay. Whoopsie. Oh dear, oh dear. Thomas Armstrong, hello. Has found an ultrasonic cleaner in supplies. How good's that? You going to be able to take it? Or are you just going to use it? Love a good old ultrasonic cleaner. I was reading on a forum once, just recently actually. So I was wondering about using an ultrasonic cleaner for a particular job that I had in mind, and I was just interested to see whether it was the sort of thing that would be suitable or whether it might cause some damage, see whether anyone had done it in the past. And I got into this forum, and this person, just with all complete authority, just jumped on there and said, oh, an ultrasonic cleaner uses vibration to clean things. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Does not use vibrations. It uses ultrasonic sound waves. Creates a reaction as those sound waves pass through a liquid. So don't you be peddling that misinformation. No, sir. Right. Yes, sir. Okay, I could be wrong, but I have the booklet that talks about the different tips, but nowhere does it say bevel. Yeah, okay. Look, I'll be honest, if I couldn't use a bevel, I'd use a chisel. So if you've got the option for chisel, that's better than nothing. Okay, so let's get back here and do some more things. Unfortunately, my little eyepieces, which I can focus so that I match the focus that you're looking at there, unfortunately, they twiddle a little bit easily. So when I'm here looking in, I sometimes end up pushing the eyepiece down slowly, and then I just get slowly more and more out of focus while I'm working. Feels like I'm getting drunk while I'm working. Thinking about doing that one time. I was thinking about jumping on here and doing a live stream late at night with a few glasses of wine in hand. But I thought to myself, that's a little bit self-indulgent, isn't it? Not sure that people actually want to watch me getting drunk while repairing a board. I would only repair my own board. I would never work on someone else's board that way. Ooh! This trace looks very scary. Shall we check this one for continuity? Okay. Sorry, you probably can't hear the beep. You might just be able to faintly hear it. This is a bad-looking trace one. This one's a bad-looking trace. Where's it go? Oh, caramba, it goes way too far for me to bother about. Under there. Under there. Under there? Under there. Under there. Rebar. What the hell? Yep. I thought that would be okay. Alright. That's why we've got the wick with a bit of solder on it. Let's go around and start cleaning up some of this. Some of this exposed stuff. They all beep. Use brake and clutch cleaner as IPA alternative. Yeah, well, it was interesting. No, I have never done that. Clutch brake cleaner, I haven't. You can, of course, buy this sort of stuff. Sorry about that, the microphone. Electronic circuit board cleaner. It's quite good. Yeah, I just got lucky. I bought a 5-litre bottle of alcohol just before the pandemic started, and all the lockdown and all the hand sanitizer crazies and all that. And so I was fine. I was well set for alcohol. And then once the pandemic was over, because they sold out, the company sold out of all their isopropyl alcohol. It's not surprising. And I ended up, yeah, they must have ordered huge amounts and ended up a little bit overstocked, because they then had this super special and was selling their isopropyl alcohol for half price. So I actually then went and got 10 litres for the price of 5. So, yeah, it's not particularly expensive here. It's the same one that's messed up on mine. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Duly noted, Steve. Duly noted. Right, I might just get these caps off here. Where's my thing? Here's my thing. Just taking off my axial capacitors that I'm going to replace later on. Just don't like seeing them on the board. They upset me. These ones were all information facing downwards. Disgraceful. I'm just going to check and see how many people I've got viewing at the moment, because I'm just curious. 24. Yeah, that's probably about what I expected. Oh, I didn't think we'd quite hit the 30, given the time and given the lack of notifications and all that sort of stuff. There's a nasty scratch on this board, not done by me. It's been there for a while. You can tell because the copper is starting to discolour. But it doesn't look like it's broken anything. Oh, you can't see it. Far out. Bow. Scratch. So anyhow, just thought I would bring that to your attention. Oh, we've got a little cap sitting over here. Let's get rid of him. Hello, little capacitor. You are banished. Hereby banished from the... Oh, there's hair on it. It's going to stink. Oh, that reeks. Oh, man. Phew. This board's not looking too bad, you know. I had a couple of glances at it before and I thought, you know what, this could be a mess, but not too bad at all. Okay. Right. This is going to be stinky. Some of these traces aren't looking too crash hot here either. I'm pretty excited about having a 2CX. Thank you to Michael Weir. My apologies, I haven't sent the 2CI back off to you. I will do that on Monday. Well, I'll organise the courier on Monday. So that'll actually be coming to you via a courier, because I'm doing it in a big box and it's just cheaper to do it with a courier than Australia Post. So I will, yeah, so look out for that 2CI. I'll send you a tracking number and everything. So basically the story is this. In one of my live streams, I had said to someone, I have 2 Macintosh 2CIs now, and I don't have a 2CX, and I want one of each. And Michael Weir answered the call. He said, I've got a couple of 2CXs and no 2CI. So I think we can come to some sort of arrangement. And there it is. He sent me down this 2CX. I am going to send him back a 2CI. Now, one could argue that the 2CI is a far better machine than the 2CX, so it's not a fair trade. One could argue that. However, a 2CX, when you don't have a 2CX, is worth more than a 2CI when you already have a 2CI. Does that make sense? It sounded like it was making sense in my mind, but once the words came out, it sounded like nonsense. Ba, 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 ba. Yep, we'll both have one of each, and that is absolutely fantastic. That is what you want, complete collection. As a collector, you can say I got the two C's, C, CI and CX. I used to use both of these computers at the company that I used to work at. There's a company called Letter Perfect, and this was in the late 80s, early 90s. We had in our design studio, we had a 2CI and a 2CX. By the time I was sort of allowed on the Mac, so I was doing other things to start off with in that job. I was a bit of a dog's buddy, I was doing other stuff. That was kind of my first, it was not my first job, but it was my first kind of, let's call it career path, shall we say. By the time I actually came to use a lot of these Macs, I think the CX had gone, because I worked at a company that split into two companies. And I think when it split into two, the one of the ones that, you know, the other company took the 2CX with it. I vaguely remember that, because I don't remember the CX being there forever. Do wonder what happened to all those computers. You know, whether the owners of the company took them home, or whether they sold them, or... Well, these ones weren't too bad. They were certainly a lot better than the other ones. As I have often mentioned in my live streams, the preparation work is extremely important when it comes to recapping, getting the new caps on. They are so much easier if you are putting them on clean pads, clean, properly prepared pads. Just make your life so much easier. I see sometimes when people, like, you know, if they're doing their first recapping or something like that, and they put a picture of, oh, I've just recapped, have a look at this. And of course, most of the time, the big mistake that these people are making is they're not getting the pads properly clean, and so not all of the pad will actually accept solder, only a bit of it will, and then people just add more and more solder, and then you end up with these great big clumps of solder sticking out. Okay, well, we've got a nice little spot here on a trace, but looks good. Looks the continuity. A little bit eaten away, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if there are some eaten away traces on here somewhere. Now, this was one of the ones where I don't actually have to remove the cap, because the cap decided to exit the board all on its own, which does happen. It looks like it's been melted, doesn't it? Maybe someone had a go at it. I don't know. I don't know. David, welcome to the stream. And Ashton Norman, did I say hello to you? I see you've been in there for a while, but I don't think I said hello to you. Abeleski, what's up, Bogans? Would that possibly be an Australian person? Bogan was a term that was generally used more in Melbourne than in Sydney, but now it's definitely become a nationwide term for a slightly uncouth person. Never got around to it. Yeah, so maybe that did just fall off on its own. It's always possible. It just looked shiny like that. That's how it was. I mean, you know, they definitely did look like they'd fallen off at a distance. So. A little bit of out of focus. There we go. Okay, so that one was nice and easy. Thank you for being easy. Like a Sunday morning. What have we done? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's more, I think. Or is that it? I better get my recapping guide just to be sure, make sure I'm not missing it. From Mount Druitt. He's from Manny County. Hey, how about that? Whoopsie. Manny County ain't too far from me. Oh, I find myself visiting that area from time to time. So there's there. There's there. Did we do that one? No. 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 We didn't. Oh, this is a mess. Oh my goodness, what a mess. Now that can just be not here. That can be not here. Jeff Barnard, hello. Excuse me. Oh dear. Oh, corona. Let's clean these ones off. This one's a scungy. I mean, look at these traces around here. Nasty. Ding. That was my toaster oven going off. I was drying some stuff in it because I accidentally dropped some stuff in my ultrasonic cleaner before I started the live stream. So I had to chuck it in the heater to dry it off. GT, hello, thank you for joining. Oh, actually, that's something that I didn't even mention in this live stream. With GT just turning up, it just made me think of it as we end up with more Maciak is here. Maciak got 1,000 subscribers. How cool is that? 1,000. A whole 1,000. So now everyone just has to go and watch loads of old episodes so that we can get the hours up to be monetized. Right. More flux. Now, I may end up having to go for a hunt for more solder wick, or braid as it's sometimes called. Found it! Everyone, call off the search, okay? I just found it. I'm just going to get that big glob of... Ow! I just flicked that solder onto my bare leg. Son of a bitch. There it is. There are lumps of skin in it. Oh, ouchie. Yeah, I had a great big glob of solder on here, and that was just, to me, that was just a waste of wick to have that added to the wick. So I flicked it off, and yeah, just got my aim a little bit off. I'm usually quite good at just aiming to get it right down in between my legs on here, but I've got bare legs because it is warm. It is, what is it, 29 degrees of the Celsius, whatever that is in the Fahrenheities. Here at the moment. Okay, doesn't look too good, but it'll do. Yeah, it's very close to Rutgay mods. The only difference is I didn't show you the welt, the horrendous burns, the blood and the gore. Wasn't that amazing having 9 people on the show last night? We haven't had a packed one like that in a while. Anyone who was wondering what show I'm referring to, I am of course referring to Maciak. Right. Oh, yep. Now it's all good. Yeah. Okay. I've good that. Yep. All right. So that's, I think, all the pads cleaned. I'll just check that though. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And yep. So now I'm just going to take the pins out from the what do you call those things? The axial capacitors. This is the way I do it. It's not necessarily the way other people do it, or even necessarily the right way to do it. It's just the way I do it. I cut this, what do you call them? Capacitors off. What are these things we're doing? I cut the capacitors off, leave the pins, and then I pull the pins out, and then I suck the solder out. Now that, whoops, not necessarily the way everyone's going to do it, but it's the way I do it. I just moved the screen there. Sorry about that. Just bumped the mousies. 1, 2. Sorry, microphone. 2, 3. Sorry. 4. Let's see how much effort it takes to get the solder out of those holes. Wait on one of those pins. What? Oh, hang on. What? Diamonds, fun. Let's make us wait on that. What's going to do to get the job done? I mean, can you tell me what you mean by wait on one of those pins? You were going to try to see if using wick to get those pins out would clear the hole simultaneously as well. Okay, I will give that a go on one of them. I don't remember like properly agreeing to that, but I probably did. Come out, damn solder. Yeah. This one's given up its solder nice and easily. There we go. Okay, that's all those cleared, but we do have some more to do. So what we're going to do, so what, you reckon I should do it from this side or the other side? Jay? Probably doesn't really matter, does it? Let's try it from this side. Get a little bit of wick here. And we will pop this on here, and we'll... Definitely did get some solder out there. Not all of it though. No. I would call that an unsuccessful attempt, and I'll tell you why I think it doesn't work. Let's take this one out, and I'll take the other one out as well while I'm here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. It's right here. You're not going to be able to see me take this out because it's underneath. Come on, you penny pin pin. Got it. Okay. Right, so I'll tell you why I don't think it works, and that is that when I can put the wick over top of the hole and get the bevel to cover the hole entirely, I think it heats the via much better, or heats the hole much better, and allows more of that solder to melt. Now, having said that, this one's being a little bit more difficult, but that's not uncommon to end up with a difficult one. Hi, Bruce Wayne. I'll have to come at that from the other side. I've got a feeling this one's going to be a cow as well. Right, doing these from the other side. These ones here, other side. These ones are pesky ones. It does happen. You do end up getting pesky ones. And I curse and I I complain, and there's nothing more I can do about it. Just deal with the situation in a mature fashion. There we go, through. Here's the other one. I might get some flux onto this first. Okay, hang on. Checking. How long does it take for 20-litre ultrasonic cleaner to warm up? Depends what you're warming it up with. If you're warming it up with the heater that come with those ones, you know, like those kind of cheap Chinese ones, 20-litre I reckon would probably take you, could even be as long as an hour. It really does depend on the wattage of the heater. I use an immersion heater for my ultrasonic cleaner, this one here. Stick it in the top, and it's like 400. No, it's more than that. It's like 1,000 watts or 1,200 watts or something heater. It really heats the bejesus out of it. It only takes about 10-15 minutes to heat up. You're being an ass. Okay, so desperate times, desperate measures. When this happens, when I have one that won't give up its solder, I put down my little bevel tip and I grab my big bevel tip. Yeah. And I get some, what's that stuff? Flux, and I get some solder. And then I get some wick, and I punish the thing. God, I'm sucking solder out of every hole but this one. Okay, so this one wants to be an ass. The main problem with this one is I have really bad access to it from the other side because I can't see it because it's right underneath. I can just see it there. It's right underneath the power connector. But I can just see it a tiny bit. You can't, but I can. The reason I can is because I've got a binocular microscope here. And you are only seeing through one of those two eyes. I just got it out, by the way. Sorry you didn't get to see it. Yeah, I've tried the snipping the corner off and getting a little bit and sticking it in there. I have to say I haven't had a whole lot of luck with that method. But anyhow, it's out now, so it's all moot. It's all a moot point. Well, for this one anyway. So I'll keep my great big tip in place for now, seeing as I've still got a couple more of these to go. The ones that are always the hardest to get out are the ones that are living right on top of ground pin, and these great big capacitors usually have one side attached to ground, so you usually have one easy side and one difficult side. That's just how they work. This one looks like the easy one. That other one was the hard one. Do the easy one first. Zip. 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 And then we'll do the hard one. Give up your secrets, little Veer. It's going to make me flip it over, isn't it? Kids always make me flip them over. Hey! What a glorious day! Okay. Right. Right? We all good? All feel like we're making progress? That's good. I'm glad. So I've got a fairly good feeling about this, that it might just work after I've recapped this. So let's get some caps on here, shall we? I've got a recapping guide here. It's a little bit crinkly because this is what I dropped into the ultrasonic cleaner and then had to dry. So I might get another one to put into my little recapping album here. But that's a recapping guide that I've made. You will find that on the Recap a Mac website. Crazy Tech Reviews. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Just watching your live stream yesterday, wasn't I? Yes, I was. So I wanted to just check with you because I had to leave your live stream part way through, Logan. It's my long story as to why, but anyhow. When at one stage, when you bump the side of the Mac Plus, and it restarted itself, and the floppy drive just got into an eject loop. Just zoo, 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 zoo. Is that a fault, or was that just a one-off thing? Does it just eject normally, or is it doing that? It's getting into an eject loop. Just curious. Oh, and by the way, you need to get some better internet, Logan. just saying. Okay, so hello, Jeff. Welcome to the stream. Solder bowl. You can't see it because I'm not on microscope view. So this is really interesting. I mean, this really does look like it was something out of the factory, but here we've got a, whatever it is, you know, transistor or something like that. And it's sitting here, and they've put these little white bits of sticky on here, I guess, to protect what's under it, which just seems a little bit flaky to me. Right. Okay. I was going to stick some capacitors on this, wasn't I? Yep. Yeah, let's do that. I'm just, given the last stream I did went for like 3.5 hours, I'm getting a little bit confused about how quickly this has gone. Now, do you know what I've done? I've left my bloody capacitors up in the house because I was going to go order some more, but I never got around to it. Bear with me just a couple of minutes while I go grab my capacitors. Capacitors. Capacitor guide. I was just up to the house and back. It's not like I had to run a marathon. I don't think I'm out of breath. I shouldn't be out of breath. 10 microfarad, 16 volt. For people who may not have seen my streams before or might be new to recapping these vintage Macs, You generally only need to keep supply, for the most part, of 4 different types of capacitors. 47 microfarad 16, 10 microfarad 16, 100 microfarad 6.3, and 1 microfarad 50. So, yeah. Fudge. Okay. Right. Move this out of the way here. So here we go. Okay. Yes, quick fixes. Sometimes they are disappointing, the old quick fix, when you sort of, thinking you're going to be getting into a big project, and then you go, oh, far out. Don't annoy me, okay? Thank you. Now, don't really need to do any UV masking in this region, because there's nothing here that I might accidentally create a short with. If you can't see the plus sign on these, if it's been scraped off or it's gone missing or whatever the case may be, you know the plus side is the bevel on the screen printing of these. I'm replacing electrolytics with tantalum capacitors. That is a question that I probably have to answer more than any other question when it comes to recapping. Are you okay with using tantalums? I've heard they can explode. That's what people ask me all the time. It's a very, very common thing that people say to me. And of course, the example I always use is the Quadra 700 or the Quadra 900 or the Quadra 950. These were Macs that Apple made, and they decided to use tantalums instead of electrolytics for those. Could have been a cost-related thing, I have no idea. But those Macs are still going strong with the original tantalums that were installed on them. So I don't see a problem with tantalum at all, apart from the fact that we do have to accept that there is probably going to be one day where there is no more tantalum, because it's quite a rare and precious. Come on, heat up. Mineral. There we go. Never seen a Mac with tantalums originally. Interestingly enough, some of the older tantalums were black rather than orange. So even if you're looking at, say, a Macintosh IIcx, I've got one floating around here. Here it is. It's a Macintosh IIcx, and go on to I might be able to just do it here. Right here is a factory-fitted tantalum capacitor. Even though it's not orange, that 476 there, that is a tantalum capacitor. So there you go. Sometimes you might actually not realize you're looking at a tantalum capacitor. Focus, 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 focus. Yeah, it is weird looking. It is a 2FX. They're bloody old. I should probably do something on the Quadra 700. I mean, I haven't had to do like a recapping of a Quadra 700 because they don't need recapping. Oh, come on. I did work on one. I can't remember if I live streamed it or I just like Skyped it with my buddies. But I was working on a Quadra 700 with damage. And one day, who knows? It was interesting. I was doing it for a customer. I ended up saying to them, look, I could work on this for a day straight and still not get it working. Now, that doesn't help any of us, because I have two options with that. I either charge you for my time and you pay a lot of money for a computer that doesn't work, or I don't charge you and I've done a whole stack of work that I don't get paid for. So I often have to make calls, tough judgment calls, about repairing a computer. I mean, here's a classic example. Classic example. Classic. Mac Classic. Which one was it? Let's for a second assume it's this one. So I think it is this one. Customer sent this to me. So can you fix it? Battery damage. I looked at it, I saw a fair bit of trace damage and a fair bit of corrosion, but I looked and I said, you know what, I think I probably can fix this. So I quoted him a price to fix it, and I started doing some work on it. And then partway through that work, I had a little, what do you call it, little moment. What's it called when you have one of those, like a little eureka moment, or a epiphany? I had an epiphany. And I realized I have a spare Mac Classic board here that's already been recapped that I was planning to sell for less than I was charging him to fix this. And I thought, that's just stupid. So, yeah. So I went back to him and I said, look, mate, I'll just sell you a board rather than fixing this, and I'll keep this one for a donor board. And then he came back to me and said, look, don't do it just yet. He said, I've got to go back and look at the rest of the computer. It may not actually, because it had the battery leakage, it got some chassis damage and stuff, and I don't think he's looked at the analog board. He might decide that he doesn't want to do it anyway. Stupid. It's so stupid. Well, not quite any Mac motherboard, but certainly a few of them, certainly of the vintage. I've got a box over there of donor boards, and then these are the kind of in progress ones. And I've got a 950, 3 Mac Plus analog boards. I've got an FX, a VX, a CI, a Quadra 700, Classic, Color Classic, Classic, and Classic 2. So if it falls outside of what I just mentioned, I'm not necessarily going to be able to put my hands on it straight away. I might actually have to get out of my chair. So, right. Okay. I got to order more caps. That's why I was up. That's why I took this up the other night, but I didn't get time to order them. So we're now on to the 47 microfarad 16s. So I've just fitted the two 10 microfarad 16, and all the rest are 47 16s apart from the axial. So makes it nice and easy when all the rest are the same. All the rest of the surface mount are the same. Let's plug this on there. Once again, I go through this quite a bit, but just in case someone is watching this live stream for the first time, or watching my live stream for the first time, or maybe this is the first recapping video. If it is the first recapping video, I'd highly recommend you go and look at my recapping video that's properly edited and it's not me waffling on like I am now. But you can see the codes on here, 476. It stands for 47. Take the first two digits, 47, and then the 6 is the number of zeros after that. So it's 47 and 6 zeros, which is 47 million. And then that's in picofarads. And if you convert 47 million picofarads into microfarads, you'll end up with 47.
And that's today's lesson with Bruce. Thank you.
Okay. $47. I think that might be my age. Something like that. I can't remember. I generally need to find out what year it is and then use a calculator. I'm terrible at remembering my age. I'm in my 40s, I can tell you that much. I know I'm at the sort of age that when I go out and mow the lawn on a 30°C day, I feel like I'm going to die. So that's why I have to come in here and relax, get a bit zen with the recapping. Got nice looking lawns now. But I've got my exercise ring all done. So I can just veg out and then drink loads of alcohol later tonight. which is bad. Okay. Alcohol's bad. Okay. Sounds like I'm underwater. What? Is it bad? Hang on. Is it bad? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It might have just been because I was tucked down. Shivers. Shivers. Okay, hang on. Let me just check something. That's okay. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. That sounds okay. You know what it was, most probably? While I was working, this was getting stuck under my chin. So I might move this up a little bit. There we go, like that. Okay. These drugs are bad. Okay. Right. We have got a lovely little row of capacitors. Doesn't that look nice? Look. Little row of capacitors. I'll tell you what, if you're going to be recapping a 2CX, spend some time to make sure you get those all straight, because if you get one that's not straight, it's going to look bad. Here's one. Oh, I just love using this Amtech flux. For those who haven't been watching my streams lately, I was running really low on the Amtech and I ordered some new stuff and it got lost in the mail. Finally arrived yesterday after 2 months in transit. And I've been so sparing with my Amtech flux because I didn't want to run out. So I was using Amtech just for the important bits and then using this other flux for the not important bits. And the other flux is okay, it's fine. I mean, if it was all I had to use, I'd still be okay. I'd still be able to do the job and whatnot, but I just prefer the Amtech flux. But now I've got heaps of the stuff. I can just use it with gay abandon. Whoops. Okay. Smells good while giving you cancer. Yeah. It is a little bit mean making something poisonous smell nice, isn't it? Don't you reckon? This one might need a little bit of that UV solder mask. Zombie Geek 33, did I say hello to you? If not, I say hello. Hello and welcome. A little bit late, I'm sorry, but you know, SadMac 356, I don't think I said hello to you either. I'm just rude as today. Just rude. Okay, it's good. Some solder mask. How are we doing with numbers at the moment? I'm not going to be obsessed with it or anything like that. I always like to get an idea of how many people I'm talking to. 32 at the moment. Well, we're up over the 30s. How about that then? Rossman is a tool for using as much flux as he does. Costs more in flux and ruins his ultrasonic cleaner fluid faster. Whoopsie. Hi. Yeah, I could use Rossman to amounts of flux, yes. As I have regularly said in my live streams, I do measure flux sort of deposits on the board in Rossmans. So generally, when I in one go would generally use no more than about half a Rossman. Right, you know what it's time for, don't you? I'll give you a clue. Pew pew! Pew pew pew! 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 Oopsie. got to go for a bit. No worries. I'll just kill time till you get back. Don't worry, zombie geek. Oops, I'm nowhere near it. I'm reading the chat and my laser beam's getting so far away from the than what I'm trying to cure. It's looking sitting. Wait, I really need to scrape that trace, don't I? That's down below. You can't see it. I can. I'll show it to you in a minute. And then you'll agree with me. Yes, you need to scrape that. It's now pointed at the mask. I was staring at the chat and then my hand's just going, oh, yeah, look at that. I can get two. I've got two of these lasers. Oh, actually, I know. No, I can't be bothered. I have done that when I got really impatient. Just get two lasers at the same time. Cure it a little bit faster. Yeah, that's cured. So we're all good there. So this is the trace that I wanted to scrape away at. You can see it just there. There's a bit of blackening going along there. Excuse me, excuse me. What do you think of that? Huh? Huh? Tell us what you think of that. My scalpel probably needs replacing in a minute. When I start getting those little lines on it, I know it's getting bad. I'm going to do a couple of trace repairs here. How are we looking? See, can you see the little nicks? See how the blade's not flat anymore? It's now got these little nicks in it. Once it gets like that, I replace it. Goodbye, goodbye. It would still be good for cutting some things, but just not good for what I'm doing. Word on the street is that it's now officially 0 degrees Celsius. Must go for a stroll to enjoy this. Wonderful. Well, it's 31 degrees Celsius here now, so we've got the opposites. Yeah, really warmed up here this afternoon, actually. 3:30 now. Don't ask me what 31 is in Fahrenheit. Hot. It's hot. It's definitely hot. Look at what we have here. Right, I'm going to go right through this hole. Oh, I love the heat. I love the heat. I mean, there's a point where the heat stops being lovable, but this sort of temperature, oh, it's delicious. It's lovely. Delicious and nutritious. Gotta get solder out of some of these holes. I don't know which one, but I'll just get it out of a bunch of them. It's one of these. Bunch. A bushel. Yeah, I don't think that one would still beat. Yes, I look at that. It was probably even barely a quarter of a Rossmann, that one. It was. Just in case there's anyone out there that doesn't know who Rossmann is, it's Louis Rossmann. He is, shall we call him a YouTube celebrity? And he has a repair workshop in New York, repairing, I think, mainly Mac laptops. And I used to watch his show avidly once upon a time. I learned a great deal from him. I got a little bit tired of some of the... oops, I just dropped the needle. Some of the banter. And I got a little bit tired of him sort of turning his show into more sort of political commentary than it was repairs. But, you know, whatever works for you, whatever gets you the subs, end of the day, I'm not one to judge. Yes, you do hear birdies. That is because it is springtime here, and I have a fig tree in my backyard that gets figs on it, just little tiny ones. They're not ones that people would eat, but the birds certainly like to eat them. And what you're hearing at the moment is a bird with most of the squawking you're hearing is coming from a bird because they travel around in big groups, so they make a lot of noise. But it's called a rainbow lorikeet. So if you've got your Googles there and you're not sure what a rainbow lorikeet is, grab your Googles and look up rainbow lorikeet because they're a really pretty looking bird. Gorgeous, just gorgeous. Great, so I have made some space for my, and that's just a pigeon up there on the roof. That's that horrible noise. I think it's probably pigeons bonking because it is springtime after all. Just going to feed this through here. I want this to go through to the other side because I don't like the look of this via. It just looks a little bit unsanitary to me. Looks all COVID-y. Christopher Bourne, hello and welcome to the stream. Cal, is it Decoa or Decova? Spring in autumn, yes, that's right. Because there's that whole thing about the Earth being round and whatnot. And it is springtime for Australia right now. And it's hot. Because this is a very hot part of the world. And it starts getting hot pretty early. I think the hottest day we had last year was 45 degrees Celsius. If someone wants to Fahrenheitize that, that'll give you an idea of the sort of heat we're talking about. It's not every day, but you know, it does get to that sort of temperature. I want a nice little glob. There we go. Got a glob. Okay. Yes. When you're getting close to the equator like that, it's It's different. It's the same in Australia, like up in the north, you know, up in Darwin and places like that. They really don't have seasons. Well, they have like a wet and a dry season, but it's just always hot up there. Always hot. Right, let's deal with this little trace break here. It's the first one that I've found that really is totally full-on broken did. How's our focus looking? Okay. Just lost it. Oh, here it is. Where was it? There. Okay. These tweezers suck. Oh, look, I've got a big glob of solder on there. I think I might find better tweezers. Just a sec. Just a sec. I got some. Yeah, just that. These are dirty, but they hold better. And dirty can be undone. Okay, looking good. It's a nice tidy one, that one, even if I do say so myself. 45 degrees Celsius is 113 Fahrenheit. So that's hot, isn't it? Stuff it. I'm going to stop trying with that. I'm going to end up making it worse. Okay, so we're looking at the worst part of the board, I should add. This board hasn't been too bad. It wasn't until I got here that I actually found my first genuine trace break. My first one that, you know, doesn't go beep on the beepity beep beep machine. So yeah, that's really we saved the ugliness for this one here. I am now going to... Geez, I should have run that wire right across onto those rough bits, shouldn't I? Idiot! Right. Let's get a cap on here, shall we? Yes, let's. 47 microfarad, 16 volt. I know that. Because it's the most common size on the Macintosh. Vintage Macintosh, anyway. Except for the old LC. I think the LC or the LC2, maybe the LC2, possibly the LC3, I don't know. LC2 maybe? LC2? Their most common one is the, what is it, 10 microfarad, 16 volt, something like that. Oh, did I bring a power supply for this down here? I might have to go back up to the house again afterwards. I've got a test one. Oh, actually, that'll do. That's off a VI, I think. 2VI. That'll work. What does the 343 denote? That is almost definitely either a batch, a batch or a date code. So 476 is the capacitance, 16 is the volts. K is probably a description of this package size. So because obviously these capacitors come in different sizes. So this is probably a K size capacitor, so just in terms of width, depth and height. And then the 343 is like a date code or a batch code or something like that. That sort of refers to, you know, sort of when the capacitor was made. So there you go. It's not the same for all manufacturers, by the way. Some of them put the date code first, some of them put the date code last. You know, I mean, it's a pain. The ones I used to use before this, I used AVX. They didn't have the voltage written on them. They had this great big long code at the end, but no voltage written on them. That was frustrating as anything. And I was getting upset. Okay. There's some ugliness around here, but is it non-conductive ugliness? That's the question. That looks okay. We've got a spot here for a diode to go that's not there. We've got a spot here for another diode that's not there. So what the hell, man? Who's not putting components on? Apple's stinging out on us. Someone obviously looked at it and just said, you know what? I don't think we need those diodes. Shivers. Shivers, Regal. Last 3 capacitors, I think. I think it's the last 3. Either that or it's not. Coming at this at a bit of a funny angle. Once again, big board, small desk. You've heard the story before. It's just me whinging. Ryan Pierce, night, mate. Are you saying good night to me, or I think you are? So are you off? If you are, good night. Thank you for joining. And I do apologise for starting so late for people who, want to go. I mean, look, it is Friday night in the US, so come on, party time. So yeah. Oh, I can hear the sound of someone arriving home. Right. Yep, my right eye's gone out of focus again. I wish there was a way that I could make these little focusable eyepieces a little bit stiffer. I've got a sneeze coming. Just warning everyone. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I think I've redlined a little bit with that on my audio. Thank you. Look at this, I'm mixing batches. So this is a 531 up here, and then 343 and 343. Terrible. I hope the person, actually no, I was going to say, I hope whoever this board is for is an OCD, and this board's for me. I am a little OCD, but I can deal with that. I'll tell you what I can't deal with. If this one was like a Kemet and this one was an AVX, I'd have a problem with that. I'd be like, no, they've got to be the same manufacturer, because they do look slightly different. But I can live with that little code. I can't see that, not without my glasses on. Right, okay, there's those. Let's just have a little checkaroony. I've got a recapping guide here, which allows me to have a checkaroony. Okay, we've got those. We've got that. But those. We've got that. That's it for the surface mount capacitors. Well, we're getting close, people. We are getting close. I can taste the anticipation. 220, 470. So, yeah, a couple of axials here. 3 of the 470 microfarads. They're originally 16s, but I generally replace the 16s with 25s. Why? Because I just dropped it. Where the hell did it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, and then a 220. Right. Right. Right, just me just straighten out the pins because I just like the pins to be straight. I should go on the side view because there's no point looking at a microscope when I'm doing axial caps. So, the latest recapping guide, the one I did for this 2CX, I have actually done it with little color codes on it, just for a bit of fun. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go back and change all of the old ones to that, but, you know, I just thought, you know. Okay, so that's that one. There's the plus. We're going to face it to the minus. I want to try and bend these so that they are a suitable length. That is too much. Once again, just get a little bit anal with this. Like the ugly colours I chose on mine. I don't remember your colours being ugly. I don't even remember who I plagiarised it from. I know it was not my idea. I saw you do it. I think Jay did it as well. And I just suddenly realised how good it was to have the colour coding on there. So I thought, I'm going to do the same. I don't really care who I'm copying. And I will thank everyone who showed me coloured recapping guides before I eventually chose to colour mine, because you are all to thank. You, Steve, you, Jay, and there was some other dude on Facebook who did it too. So thank you to you all. Don't mind stealing an occasional good idea. I'm getting a little bit probably a bit fussy here with this. So there we go. That'll do. It'll do. Calm down, Bruce. This is your board. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be inside the computer. You won't even see it. You know, I have talked about this before, about the whole how it looks inside outside type thing. Because people do sometimes ask me, oh, you know, do you know how to retrobrite computers? Because I'm recapping them, and some people ask me, can I retrobrite as well? And I've never done a retrobrite, and I never really planned to do a retrobrite. Maybe one day. I've got this cap run the wrong way. Thank you very much for noticing. I have just never really been particularly fussed about the fact that these computers go yellow. I mean, I am constantly devastated by the brittle plastics, and I so wish that something could be done about that. But of course, retrobriting is not the answer for that particular quandary. But yeah, I've just really never cared about the fact they go yellow. I'm more concerned about they work. Krantz Lab, hello, thank you for joining. Right. See if I can get this right first go. It doesn't help with these latex gloves that I'm wearing that are slowly falling apart. Might be time for some new ones. I am really getting a bit finicky with this stuff. Stop it, Bruce, stop it. Just stop. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, cross up the way again. That way. I have mentioned this before, and I was very pleased to see that someone I spoke to the other day, he followed suit, and that is, I always make sure when I mount these things on a board, I mount them so that you can get the readings off the capacitor. I find nothing more annoying than when I'm trying to find out what size a capacitor is on like an axial cap, and all of the ratings and everything are all underneath the board. It's a bit of a pain. Let's get these ones on. So then the goggles. Where are my goggles? Here are my goggles. They lied. It's 2 degrees Celsius. How disappointing for you, Jay. What did I forget? I know what I forgot. Smash that like button. Has everyone taken a few moments to smash that like button? Please. Right. Snippety snip. Snippety snip. Just got one more axial to put on, but I just wanted to do these three first. Because they're all together. So, do them. Looking nice. Did I get them all around the right way? I did. Ah, Bruce, you're in form today. And the last one here now. Dislikes. Of course Jay dislikes. Oops. Okay. I'd really just love to play with vintage Macs for the rest of the afternoon. Don't think I'll get a chance to. I've got other stuff to do, but I just love getting out the old Macs. I'm actually planning a video at some stage in the future where I'm just going to spend a little bit of time going through my favourite Macs. Just pull a few of them out, talk a little bit about them, talk about why they're my favourite, fire them up. You know, sort of nothing particularly interesting, but just a little bit of a showcase of each of the Macs. I won't be spending great lengths of time explaining stuff about them or anything like that. Just a little bit of a, you know, my favourite Macs sort of segment. Right, well, in theory, this is now recapped. So, what do? Well, we throw some power at it, don't we? Right, now, no battery. I'm going to try it without the battery. Is Steve still around? Yes, Steve's still around. Steve, I'm going to try it without the battery. Got myself a SCSI 2SD here. This also went into the ultrasonic cleaning liquid, but didn't get very wet, so that was quite good. Just explaining to people earlier on that I did actually drop some stuff. I've got here a power supply from, it is a 2VI. Yeah, I labelled it and everything. Hasn't been recapped, but that is what it's from. I'll plonk it here. Rest. Not resting on anything conductive. No. Got to put a little bit of RAM in here. I'm just going to start with the old 4 megaroonies. Got 4 here. I've got a bit of a big mess of wires ROM here too, if I want to go in and boot from the ROM. Where are we? Bank A. What are the odds, folks? What do you reckon? What do you give me the odds that this is going to work first up? I reckon I'm about 70-30, maybe 75-25, something like that. There is a little bit of doubt in my mind, but you know, I really want to get set up with something that will enable me to show what's coming out on this screen onto my live feed without having to use this stupid little screen that I have here. 6337. Oh wow, that's topical. Can anyone tell me what the old 6337 means? Anyone who's into the work that I'm doing knows what the old 3763 means. Okay. Okay. So, the information on low-end Mac said first 6040. Well, I'll be honest. I've used both and I can't tell the difference. I've got a thicker spool of 6040 and shit, it just turned on by itself. I didn't have a speaker connected, so it just came on without pressing the button. That was a bit of that's a bit of a fizzle, wasn't it? Sorry, people. I wanted to be a little bit more exciting, but it just started by itself. It was not my fault. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. Where's the speaker connector, Steve? Steve? Is that at the front? Yeah, that's it. Got it. Okay, there we go. Well, it's kind of taken some of the some of the suspense away. I've got to connect the hard drive to this because of internal termination and all that sort of jiggery pokery. So connecting the hard drive, however, I'm not actually connecting the power. I'm just using this to provide termination for the bus. Oh, should I connect the keyboard to it? I'm running out of space here. John's the ADB port. Shall I just shove it in and see if it fits? Yeah, it does. Right. Okay. Ooh, I wonder if it's going to work. Ooh. Sorry, everyone. I feel like an ass now. I'm going to start it with a keyboard this time. It chimed. I don't know if you could hear it, but it chimed. Bruce, clean your desk. No! Don't make me. Don't make me. Start. Start, you sucker. Sorry, Steve. You just haven't found that trace break yet, have you? You'll find it. You'll find it. And other, you know, sort of patronising sayings like that. Don't worry, Steve. You'll find it. Sorry. I am sorry. Let me just sit tight. I need to grab a plug. Just got to remember where it is. Here it is. I'm going to power up this hard drive, see if it makes any difference. Off. 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 There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. That there. Yep. Okay. Now. Okay. Hard drive spins up. Stop being a dick. Hang on. Oh, this has got a reset button. I'm going to go Shift Option Command Delete. I'm just getting a flashing question mark. I'm not actually getting any SCSI action, or maybe there's a problem with a SCSI bus or something like that. That's always possible. We can never rule that one out. No. So we're not having like a complete success, so don't get too excited, Steve. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was getting the light on the SCSI 2SD, which means that it's getting power, of course. But we're not getting anything booting. That's what happens when you press the program. Programmers interrupt when you shouldn't. I'm taking these stupid gloves off. Stupid. It's just not the same if I'm just got a flashing question mark. It's just not. It's not satisfying. It doesn't fill me with joy. Yeah, I love the Rainbow SCSI cable. It was just in something. I can't even remember what it was. It was just in something that I got. Now, there was that thing about saying you can't boot these without a battery in them, so how about I just put a battery in, even though it really does look like it's booting fine without a battery. Doesn't it? Oh, come on. Don't tell me I don't have a battery here. I've always got a battery. Come on. I don't want to have to walk up to the house again. It's miles away. No. Stop it. There was a battery here recently. And... Oh, I know where it is. It's inside this holder. From when I was working on that Mac 2 the other day. I remember. Got all the powder on my hands. So, putting the battery in. Just like thusly. I'm going to switch it on. I'm not going to clean my desk. It's just stop saying it. Oh, geez, that hard drive's not good, is it? You know, I can't just go in and assume that there's a problem with SCSI or something like that, because there are so many things that can potentially end up with a flashing question mark. I've been using the SCSI 2SD just recently, and I could have ended up damaging one of the partitions on it. Oh, my phone is angry again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Check. 1, 2. Check. Check. 1, 2. Check. Check. Did you get the check? Did you get the check? Okay. There we go. Right. Now, okay. All right. The battery made no difference. So everyone happy with that? Steve, I think you can fairly safely say that the battery is not the issue on yours, despite what low-end Mac said, that you can't boot it without a PRAM battery in place. Low-end Mac is wrong. That's the low-end Mac website, so not the low-end Mac Facebook group. You know what I can do, just for the sake of a bit of fun, and just cause, I can stick the old big mess of wires ROM in there, can't I? And we can boot from that. BMOW. Now I need it to address this ROM. So I need to remove a jumper, which I think is W1. Jumper removed. And then we'll give this another go. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And what that will also enable me to do is when it boots up, it's got SCSI probe on there, so I can actually have a look and see if the SCSI looks like it's not terminated or something. See, it just did it again. It started all by itself. Doesn't like the ROM. Hang on. Let's try again. 3, 2, 1, and... Okay, that's better. Oh no, it's giving me an error. And it didn't shine, did it? Oh, I disconnected the speaker, so of course it didn't shine. Maybe it's not W1. But I'm in there. I could, of course, have trace issues with this ROM. And let's see what happens when I put the jumper back on. I'm so sorry you can't see what I'm seeing here. Just because I need to be able to see what I'm seeing here. I'm so sorry. Right, okay, so that time we got the flashing question mark. I am going to switch it off. I'm going to take that jumper off W1. I'm going to disconnect some SCSI. I can't stay in. Okay, got the screen. And yeah, it's just going straight to sad make face. F1. Is that a RAM based issue? I don't know. It's F 1. That's usually I think that's usually ROM related, so it is probably something to do with this ROM. Alright, you know what I'm gonna do? This will be the last thing I do and then I'll finish the stream, so you know, don't don't worry too much. In case you're thinking, when's it going to stop? I want to go to bed. I am going to remove this little ROM, remove this hard drive. Out, damn spot. It is definitely W1. I've got the right jumper, I'm sure of it. But it's, for whatever reason, it's not enjoying booting from that ROM. And I don't know what that is. It could be something to do with traces relating to that ROM. But what I wanted to have a look at, I just wanted to have a look at the SCSI here, because what have we got any caps around here? A little bit. That's where we had the trace damage. Yeah, that trace damage definitely around the SCSI. Well, we've got some funkiness around here. This is all SCSI-ish, related, nearby. Yeah. Okay. So let's just have a look at that, because I don't like the look of it. No, wrong keyboard. There we go. So here we go. We're looking at it here. We've got nastiness. 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 These all look like they have continuity, don't they? So this board's doing to me what Steve's board did to him. It's laughing at us. Of course, the board does definitely want to clean as well. Yep. So, oh, I should check the fuse, shouldn't I, of the SCSI fuse? Which one's that? F2, maybe? And it's going to be okay, because it always is. Nearly finished. By the way, thank you very much for the super chat, Michael. Much appreciated. Okay. Yeah, we're all good. So look, I think probably the next course of action, geez, that looks bad, doesn't it? Next course of action is to give this a darn good clean, because it is darn dirty. So I'll look around the ROM sim here, see if we can see anything obvious that might make me go, Well, looks pretty good, doesn't it? Well, I'm pretty much happy to leave it there, I think. I've been going for, you know, a little over 2 hours now. It is, found it was live, 12:14 AM where I am. Hello, Pinfold 8. I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to wrap this up now, and I'll tell you why. Because the computer definitely works. It boots, it chimes. We get a flashing question mark. Now, the problem with it actually booting could be related to a SCSI issue, or, you know, it could just be like termination. It could be, I don't actually know for a fact that my little SCSI 2SD is working properly at the moment, given the fact that I just dropped it in some water. And so I would need to probably double check this with a different computer, see if that's working, see if it's booting on another computer. But look, we got videos so that we know that the new bus is working. We got a chime, so we're not got no sounders working. We've got flashing question marks, so it's loading up the ROMs and all that sort of stuff. But we are looking at a pretty dirty computer. I think you definitely benefit from some quality time in the ultrasonic cleaner. So maybe we can have a 2CX Skype party. And then yeah, then I just wanted to look at the scrape again. There's a scratch right through the middle of the board. Just wanted to make sure there's nothing broken there. And we do that by scraping some more. Looking good. So, Steve, are you still around? Yes, Steve, you're still around. Sorry, yes, you were the one that just suggested the CX party. Of course you are. Do me a favour and just put into the chat here what it cost to buy brand new in the US a Mac 2CX with 5 megabytes of RAM in it. Because I do believe that's something you have some personal experience with. I reckon those jumpers do. Didn't clean that one up, it's still worked, so maybe that. Could be the RAM, anyway, could be anything. Steve's left. Oh, okay, I'm not telling you. I just did a video and took a lot out of me. Yes. Yeah, Steve had a premiere before. I got to watch all of it actually, which is good. Geez, this one's ugly. That's just the serial port, I think. The serial, one of the two serial controllers. Just going to clean around there because it is pretty ugly. 2CX with 5 megabyte, 13-inch RGB Rastrops video card, image writer 2, keyboard and cables, dust covers were just over $11,000 in 1990. And remember, 2CX was the lower one, the lower spec one. 2CI was the big powerhouse. So yeah, wowzers, $11,000. $11,000 in 1990 money. And people whinge about the cost of a Mac Pro. Jim. I just feel like I'm gonna just stumble across one big juicy trace break. I better have it yet. Just gonna have a little side view. I always like to have a side view on chips that I think might have a problem, and I'll try and do that without disconnecting my camera. So side view, coming at you, side view. Is that the chip? Is that the chip? Yeah. Okay. 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 I'm not even looking at the right chip. How about that one? I'm looking at the swim chip. Good. Alright. Checking the traces through instead of scratching away. Yep. Okay, yes, I could definitely use a multimeter to check them, no doubt about that. But when we're looking at that sort of damage, I am always going to scrape them off and then recoat them anyway. Because when they've got, you know, that sort of blackness or something on them, you've got corrosion on the top layer of the copper. If you just leave that unchecked, that corrosion's going to get worse. So I scrape that corrosion off until I've got a nice clear copper, get rid of it all, then I paint over it to seal it up again afterwards. So I'm going to scrape it off anyway. So, you know, there's another scratch. That's a gouge, not a scratch. I still think we've got continuity here. I will double check with beepity beep. Okay. Here to here. Yep. 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 Still good. Super Wozniak integrated machine. That's exactly what SWIM stands for. So you can generally know that that's going to have something to do with the floppy drive. Okay. Right. I'm just going to... I've done nothing. I've changed nothing. But I'm going to do that old thing of just trying it again. I'm just going to... And I could go up to the house, and I could... Actually, you know what I could do? I could grab the internal SCSI to SD from my 2CI, because that would work on this one. I might do that. That'll only take a moment for me to do, because I can just nip up to the house and grab that. Then I can connect that up as the internal hard drive. I don't need to worry about sticking the SCSI to SD on the outside. And we'll just see what happens, shall we? Oh, yes, I like that idea. Okay, so for everyone who has waited this long, all I'm asking you to do is wait a little bit longer. Does that sound fair? Yeah, that sounds fair. Just looking at all my RAM here. Seeing if I've got ones that all match. 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 that match. How does one end up with 3 that match? No, not to worry. More waiting, yes indeed. It's terrible, isn't it, Jay? You know, you want this to go on longer. I know you. Right, okay, so I shall be back in just a few moments. I know it's just a very quick thing for me to do, so I'll be right back. That wasn't too long a wait, was it? Hey? Hey? Oh, it is. Okay. SCSI cable. Come on. Come on. I've got it. What the? Is that SCSI cable okay? Hope so. Oh, there goes the mouse. Let's connect that. Let's hope this gets enough power from the SCSI. We need a display card. Thank you, Jay, for the promotion of my website. I do appreciate that. It's not just any old website. It's a useful website for people who are doing recapping and repairs. I do actually want to add some more things to it. I want to start putting some more useful tips on there because I've been learning stuff as I do this. I find out things that are wrong with things. Because I'm a fixer. You stay there. You go there. And you go here. You're going to just switch on like you did last time. Guess you are. Okay, so I have got screwing. And I've got a flashing question mark. Now, is this... Oh, this is sort of blinking. It's blinking a bit dim, though. I'm not sure if it's getting enough power, so I might connect it up to the SCSI. Oh, there's a chicken making noise out there. It usually blinks a bit brighter. Now, of course, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to pack it in. There we go. Ah, that's brighter. I mean, it still didn't work, but it's brighter. Gonna... Oh, sorry, it's reset. So I've got to reset it with buttons again. So we could well have something wrong with the SCSI here. I've got a few more things to test out. I won't do them on stream. I'll wrap the stream up now and I'll do it afterwards. And if I'll let people know what happens on my Brankus Facebook page. If anyone who hasn't gone in and liked my Brankus Facebook page and followed it, Brankus Creations, please do that. There is a link on the landing page of my YouTube channel. There's a little Facebook link there that can take you to my Brankus page. I do generally put updates on there when I continue working on things after the stream and then fix them and that. I have got an old-fashioned external SCSI hard drive, spinner type hard drive. I'm going to connect that up there and just check and make sure that this isn't an issue I'm having with SCSI to SD related things, but it is starting to point to an issue with the SCSI, like maybe the problem with the SCSI chip. I think have a spare SCSI chip, so I can probably change that over if I need to, or maybe go in and have a look at some more potentially damaged traces. But the first thing that I'm going to do before any of that happens is I'm going to get this board and chuck it in the ultrasonic cleaner and clean the gunk out of it. Yes, sir. So, everyone can just take a moment to enjoy, soak in the deliciousness of that flashing question mark icon. We at least know that we're getting part of the way there. We've got, you know, it's pretty close to working. So unplugging, grabbing mousing. So I would like to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for everyone for turning it up at such a weird time. Well, geez, there's been a massive drop off. Yeah, so thank you everyone for oh no. That was a mistake. That was a mistake on YouTube. It said there were 17 viewers, and then it suddenly went to 35. So it made a mistake. And I would like to thank each and every one of you. Thank you for the super chats that were there. Thank you for people who have been subscribing and making this channel get bigger. I really appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know that you like looking at this sort of silly stuff. And thank you for keeping me company while I was recapping this 2CX. So I will say goodbye to all. Have a good night. day, morning, afternoon, whatever it happens to be, wherever you are in the world. And hopefully I will see you at the next live stream. Bye now.